I remember this time not to turn my light on before. Let's open up with a word of prayer. Lord and Father, I just want to thank you for coming here and just worship you. And I pray, as I give this message, Lord, that you just guide and direct me, and you just give me the words to say, that we're going to open up our eyes to what you want this passage, Lord. And I pray that you're just here, and you're the one that's going to bless this time. And I praise your name, amen. Today's Mother's Day. And, you know, there's a little history behind it. The original significance and history of Mother's Day in the United States are deeply intertwined with the nation's history and social movement following the American Civil War. Anna Reeves Jarvis, a notable peace activist and community organizer, laid the foundation for what would become Mother's Day through the creation of Mother's Day work clubs. These clubs were crucial in fostering reconciliation among divided communities by focusing on sharing concerns such as public health and welfare of children. In the post-war era, Jewish initiatives sought to bridge the chasm left by the conflict, advocating for unity and understanding through common grounds for motherhood and community well-being. And they established Mother's Day on the second Sunday of May following President Woodward Wilson's proclamation in 1944, marking the achievements of Jarvis' journey to national recognition of the importance of motherhood. You know, motherhood is one of these important things. And this is one of the days we actually celebrate our mothers. And we're here to celebrate the mothers. Did you know Mother's Day is the fifth most favored holiday? More people, number 5 is celebrated. Father's Day is like number 15. So it's way down there. But Mother's Day, you know, you watch football players, and what do they say? They say, I love you, Mom. You never hear them say, I love you, Dad. It's always, I love you, Mom. You know? So mothers are there. This holiday, more calls are made on Mother's Day. Over 130 million cards are bought. 4 million is spent on jewelry. 4 million is spent on meals. 2 billion is on flowers. So we do want to give our mothers a lot of gifts, don't we? We realize what they did. The gifts most mothers want is really quality time with their family. You know, and they want to connect with them. This is what a mother really wants. You want to know what the mother don't want? They did a survey. And one thing a mother don't want is a gym membership. That's the least thing they want. There was only like 2% of them wanted a gym membership. They're like, don't give me a gym membership. But this reminds us what a mother is. A mother is love, isn't she? You know, this is our example from God what love is. Because we look in John 4:8, it says, anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love. You know, this is one of the things a mother gives us. Almost every mother gives unconditional love to her kids, don't she? She never stops loving her kid, no matter what they do. A kid can be in trouble, and a mother will be praying for him. She still loves him. She might be upset with him, but a mother always loves him. A mother is always there for her child. A mother knows what true love is. And the love of mothers is combined with a couple things. It's combined with strength. Because we look in Proverbs 3:25, 31:25. It says, strength and dignity are her clothing, and she shall laugh in the time to come. You know, a mother, what's she worried about? She has that strength, don't she? You think about a mother, they endure through everything. A mother does a lot at home. A father might come home and sit, but does a mother have time to come home and sit? A mother can't even sit there. They ask us guys what we're thinking about. What do we say? Nothing. And then women think, well, how can they do that? Well, we can. We can just sit there and relax and forget about it. Women, their head's always going. They're thinking about, how am I going to take care of my kids? How am I going to take care of this house? How am I going to take care of my family? Their head's always going, isn't it? You know, a mother, she wants to take care of her family. You know, she has that strength, and God gives her that strength to continue. And also, she highlights both an inner and outer confidence. Mothers have that confidence when they're taking care of the kids. Don't get in the middle of a kid and mother and her kids. Then she comes a mama bear. She'll protect her kids. Also, a mother is persistent. You know, it says in Galatians 6:9. And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. You know, a mother doesn't give up. A mother never gives up. She's always there. I mean, most Christian mothers are praying for their kids every day. They're praying for their children, whether they're married or not. They're still worried about them. They're worried about their kids, even if they're not home. A mother's love is completely different. And determination. In John 16:21, when a woman is giving birth, she has sorrow, but her hour has come. But when she has delivered a baby, she no longer remembers the anguish. For joy of the human being has been born into this world. Wait a minute, I read the wrong one. Oh, I did. You know, here's a mother. They had the baby. And I hear a lot of mothers say, I'll never have another one. I say, give yourself a couple more weeks. A couple more weeks, they forgot all that pain, don't they? They're determined. They've forgotten all about that. All they know is they have that baby. They're loving that baby. All of a sudden, it's a completely different story, isn't it? You know, if we learn from a mother, they're determined. They don't remember that pain anymore. A lot of us guys, when we get sick, we lay on the couch, we're dying. A mother can't do that. She's usually taking care of the children, isn't she? She's the one that gets up. If she's sick, she still has to take care of her kids, don't she? You can't sit down. You know, they're determined. A mother also has intuition. In 1 Peter 3:4, but let your adorning be hidden person of the heart, within impersonation, beauty, and gentleness of a quiet spirit, which is God's sight in this very precious. Is very precious, you know. A mother has that intuition. She knows. Usually when there's something wrong, a mother's looking. She knows. She has that second sense. If something's wrong with her kids or something, she knows. She's there for her kids. And this is a time we celebrate that. And also, you know, with this, a mother has the power to change the world. What do most people say? A mother is one that changes us the most. We learn from our mothers. If you start reading what we've been reading through Kings, the kings that were changed and went the right way was because of their mother. Our mothers have so much influence on us. They have influence on our whole life. Abraham Lincoln said, behind every good man, there's a great mother. You know? He also said a Christian mother should be a virtuous woman. So, behind every good man, there's a good mother. Somebody had to bring us up. Somebody had to show us. You know, most dads are out in the world working, aren't they? Most dads aren't home. Who's at home taking care of the kids? Mother. And this is where we start learning. But if we start looking at the Bible, if we look at Proverbs 31, is where we're going to end up at here. Solomon is talking to his sons. And one of the things he says, you need to find a virtuous woman. If somebody should have known this, should have been Solomon. I mean, he had 700 wives and 300 concubines. So I think by now he should know what's going on. But he starts out here in Proverbs 31. He says, who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. This is one thing you find out. If you can find that right wife, she is more valuable than money. A good wife is going to take you the right way. She's going to lead your family. She's going to lead you. Because a lot of guys, who keeps them going? Their wives. And for all you Christian women here, this is what we should be shooting for. And for the guys, if you're looking for a wife, this is what you should be looking for. You know, a virtuous woman. And it tells us what a virtuous woman is as we go down. In verse 11, the heart of her husband safely trusts in her, so he will not lack of gains. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. So a good mother, what is she going to be? She's going to be good to her husband, isn't she? She's going to trust him. He's going to be able to safely trust her. You know, she's going to help him gain. She's going to get him up and have him go and do stuff. We won't be, you know, we have a tendency to get lazy sometimes, but if you have a good wife, she's going to help keep you going. And a good wife doesn't do evil. She's going to start doing, she does right, doesn't she? It says in verse 13, she seeks wool and flax, and willingly works with her hands. She is like a merchant shipping, bringing her food from afar. She also rises while it is yet not night, and provides food for her household, and a portion for her maidservants. So, this woman, you got to remember, they weren't always just sitting at home. As we start thinking, I think it's like in around the 60s or so, we had stay-at-home mothers. Before then, the mothers were home, but they were working. They were out making clothes. They were out growing gardens, and then they were selling the food. They were helping with the income, weren't they? They were helping gains in the house. This is a lot of people do now is by working, both of them were working. But they were also staying at home taking care of the children at the same time. But it's saying she provides for food for her family too, so she's cooking. You know, this don't mean the husband gets to sit around and do nothing. I don't want anybody to think that. This is what a virtuous woman is. Because we work together as a family. A husband and wife are at the same level. We're supposed to work together. She also, in verse 16, it says, she considers a field and buys it. From her profits, she plants a vineyard. She girds herself with strength and strengthens her arms. So she's going out and she's trying to figure out ways that they can help the income in the house too, aren't they? Because she went out and bought her vineyard. She started it. She planted it. This is what we're supposed to look for. We're not supposed to be, we're supposed to be all together. You know, it says she girds herself with strength and strengthens her arms. So a mother's strong, isn't she? A mother, like I said, a mother holds the family together. A mother is one of the ones that shows us during the hard times. A lot of us guys, we don't understand when people are upset. We look over it. But a mother will comfort somebody. She'll come up and hug them. She'll talk to them. She takes that time to show that love. And we need that. Because God made women and guys different. Men and women are completely different. The way we think, the way we act. And she's the comforter of the family. In verse 18, she perceives her merchandise is good. Her lamp does not go out by night. She stretches out her hands to the staff, and her hands hold the spindles. So she's going out and selling the stuff too, isn't she? This lady's really busy. She extends her hand to the poor. Yes, she reaches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid to snow for her household, but all her household is clothed with scarlet. So this lady goes out and helps other people who are in need, don't she? She goes out and works with the needy. She goes out and she takes care of her household first. She makes sure her household's taken care of. These are the things we have to look for. It says here she makes tapestry for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. So, like I said, back then they made clothes. Now you go shop for them. So there's a difference. But she made sure there was stuff, clothing after her family. And they were taken care of. Her husband is known at the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. So she's also known for around the community as being a good woman, isn't she? Her husband is proud of her. You know, she makes linen and garments and sells them, and spies sashes for merchandise. Strength and honor are her clothing. She will rejoice in times to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and her tongue is the law of kindness. So she's not a gossip. She goes around and she makes sure what she's saying is kind. And she honors people. She watches over the way of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. So she's taking care of her household. And she's not idle. She's not sitting around. She takes care of her household. She makes sure it's taken care of. Her children rise up and call her blessed. So the children honor her too, don't they? You know, today is probably one of the times that I've worked with teens. I know when I first started, it was unusual ever to hear a mother abandon her kids. I hear it more and more now than ever. And that's hard for me to believe. Because I think of a mother, she's the one that worries about the kids more. Used to be the fathers abandoned them, but I say it's almost 50-50 now. You know? But her children know she's blessed. Most of the Christian mothers will say that. Us guys, kids will say that. A husband also, and he praises her. He praises the wife, don't he? And verse 29 says, many daughters have done well, but you excel in all. Because this is one of the biggest things. Charm is deceitful and beauty is passing. But a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. You know, as we get older, we lose our looks. So if everything's based on your looks, what's going to happen? You no longer have that thing, because when beauty passes, you don't have it. That's what you're relying on. There's nothing left. That personality, that love, that all that is what matters. Because as you get older, that's what matters. We see that, and if they fear the Lord, guess what? You're going to be praised big time. This is what most of our mothers are. And in verse 31 it says, give her a fruit of her hands, and let her own work praise her at the gates. She takes her hands, and what she makes, that work is praised by everybody. You know, as I look through this, I'm thinking, what is a biblical mother? And this is what a biblical mother comes out to. And this is what we praise today. This is what we want in the church. This is what we need. We look at all that, and we know this is what God made it for. This is what God made mothers for. And this is what we need more and more in this world now. Because as people think more and more about themselves, we lose that, don't we? And this is why today, back then, they started celebrating mothers. Because mothers are the ones that will give more. They do show that love. They show that love like God has for us. They show us how to care. They show us how to forgive. Because most mothers, when their kids do stuff wrong, like I said, they're the first one to forgive them. Some of us guys were more into the discipline. And it's harder for us. Because we think before we show them love, we need to discipline them. The mother's more like God. As soon as she sees that kid running, she'll come up and give him a big hug and pull him in, won't she? And that's where we get this from God. God has shown us through the difference between a mother and a father. This is showing us that part of God. Because what does he do whenever he sees us? If he sees us hurting, and we come and ask for forgiveness, what's he do? He comes up, grabs a hold of us, and forgives us. He doesn't think twice about it. He still loves us, no matter what we did. He cares about us. And also, when I was looking through this, Ephesians 6, 1 through 3, it says, child, obey your parent in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment I promised, that it may go well with you, and that you may have a long life on earth. You know, we're supposed to honor our mothers. Because honoring our mothers, this is one of the things he says, it can make our life longer on this earth. You know, a mother wants the best for their kids. A mother isn't going to, most mothers aren't going to lead their kids down the wrong way. A mother wants to praise her kid. They want to see him do well. And if you follow what your mother has, most mothers are going to do this. They're going to make sure that they lead their kid down the right way, that they're going to live a well and healthy life, aren't they? They're going to live longer. And as I looked at that, I was like, man, this is what we need more in our world, isn't it? We need more godly mothers. You don't have to be a real mother to do that either. I know a lot of women that are single, and they spend just as much time with these kids, and they're like a mother to them. We are all called to do this. All the mothers, all the women. Because I know right now, out here, these kids are living on their own. They don't have mothers. And it's getting sad. But God planned this to be this way. He planned the women to be a part of the lives of their children. And I just want to thank each one of your mothers here. Closing a word of prayer. Lord, Father, I just want to thank you, and I pray right now you just be with us as we can realize what a virtuous woman is. And I pray that for each one of these mothers here, and I thank you for each one of these Christian mothers that are here that are that virtuous woman. And that they can just bless their families and be there and just give them that strength through this time and be that loving, caring parent. And I just pray this in your name, amen.